Well, hello everybody. I'm out again for another night of astrophotography, and tonight's target is going to be the Western Veil Nebula. So, stay tuned. The Veil Nebula is a diffuse nebula located in the northern constellation Cygnus, the Swan. Also known as the Witch's Broom Nebula, Bridal Nebula, Cirrus Nebula, or Filamentary Nebula, it constitutes the visible part of the Cygnus Loop, a supernova remnant in Cygnus. It is located at an approximate distance of 1,470 light-years from Earth and has an apparent magnitude of 7. The Veil Nebula was discovered by William Herschel on September 5, 1784. The Veil Nebula has three main parts: the Eastern Veil, the Western Veil, and Fleming's Triangle or Pickering's Triangle. It has the designations of NGC 6960, 6962, 6965, 6974, and 6979 in the New General Catalog. The Veil Nebula is a frequent object of study for astronomers because it is large, located relatively close to Earth, and makes a good example of a middle-aged supernova remnant. For amateur astronomers, the nebula makes one of the most spectacular objects in the northern sky. The wispy intertwined structure of the nebula is a result of vast amounts of energy released as the debris from the supernova moves at high speeds through the area, creating shock fronts. The debris moves at about 600,000 kilometers per hour and heats the surrounding gas to millions of degrees. As the material cools, it creates the colored glows. Well, hello everyone, and thanks again for staying with me. Well, as you know, the image you're going to see at the end of this video is the Western Veil Nebula. Now, as with the previous probably 3 images that I've posted, this image is an image that I took last year. I believe it was in September of last year. And since I haven't been able to get out recently to do any imaging, with the exception of last week, I decided to go ahead and process this image. I had a bit of a backlog, as I've mentioned earlier, and it's given me a chance to go back and process some images. And the Western Veil Nebula was one of the ones that I chose. All right, as I said, I am happy to say that last week I did get out and do some imaging. The weather cleared up the entire weekend, so that gave me a chance to photograph 1 or 2 galaxies. So I will be getting a chance to process those images sometime soon, and I'll be posting those. All right, but as far as the Western Veil Nebula is concerned, as I said, I shot this last September. And let's see, I believe I used, at that time as usual, the ZWO 533MC Pro. And I believe I got about, it wasn't a great deal, I believe it was around 4.5 hours of total exposure time on this particular target. And it's a relatively bright target at magnitude, I believe, 7. And actually 4.5 hours did quite well for this particular target. I captured it with the Explore Scientific AR-102 with the focal reducer. That gave me 530 millimeters of focal length, and the image came out relatively well. All right, the Veil Nebula complex is one of the more popular targets for astrophotographers. It's very striking. It has a very distinct look to it. It's actually the remnants of a supernova, and it's composed of the Eastern Veil Nebula, the Western Veil Nebula, and Pickerling's Triangle. And some people decide to photograph each one individually, and then some people photograph the entire complex itself. Up to this point, I've simply photographed the Eastern and the Western, and I will be getting Pickerling's Triangle probably when nebula season comes around again. And also, I'll use a wider field and also capture the entire complex. On this particular target, I was taking 3-minute exposures, and I was using the Optolong L Extreme filter, as I normally would on a lot of the nebulas. Of course, recently I've purchased a mono camera, so I've been using a narrowband from time to time on many images. But I have to say the Optolong L Extreme is one of my favorite tools to use when it comes to astrophotography. All right, I just thought I would do a very short video on this, and I hope you enjoy the finished image. And as usual, if you've enjoyed this video, please don't hesitate to comment, like, and please subscribe. All right, until next time, and clear skies.